All right. Josh Mandel predicts the Bitcoin at 444K by November this year.
November 8th. Dude, you haven't heard about this?
I have heard about this. I didn't think there was a date on it, though.
No, he put a date on like when the bottom was. I think he was like, there was a particular day, like 10 days ago. He was like, this is gonna be the bottom in 24 hours.
I remember that.
It's gonna rip and 444 by November 8th now.
Oh, I didn't know there was a date on it.
Which comes out to 3.6%.
I mean, if we go to 44K by November 8th, then
now, but he's saying that's a fast wick up, like a crazy thin wick up.
Holy smokes.
And then coming down to 84K, on the backside of that.
That's violent. Okay, so what's the question? The question is this a moonshot fantasy, or could Bitcoin's momentum actually make it?
I don't think it's a moonshot fantasy. I mean, we're talking about 3x. Bitcoin is done. If gold if people said, there's no way Bitcoin could move that big, it's too big of a market. If gold could do 50% and in 9 months, and that's a 10 to a, what now it's like or 13 to a $20 trillion market, a 20 plus trillion. Bitcoin could do 250, 300x in a quarter.
Yeah, no, I like, absolutely.
There's no reason it can't.
Well, it's not even a quarter now. It's like a month away.
He's calling by November 8th. But I'm just saying over the fourth quarter. Yeah. So I don't think that's out of hand. Udi's calling for 400K.
Well, if Udi says it, I'm all in.
I feel like in a weird way, Udi has been. I don't like the word either, but signal like in a weird way, especially in the last couple of months. Okay. I don't know. I'd love to chat with him sometime. So yeah, I don't understand this though. Like November 8th of this year is impossible. Impossible. What does that mean?
Impossible.
Impossible.
Not impossible.
Yeah. Well, interesting phrasing. Let's move on to the next one here. It is the lightning round.
Oh yeah, New York.
New York proposes excise tax on Bitcoin mining. Why are New York lawmakers proposing a new sliding scale excise tax on proof of work mining, and who would it affect?
Well, so there aren't a ton of crypto miners, at least, viable crypto miners in New York.
Right.
But there is one, Greenidge, I think they call themselves. Not Green Ridge, just Greenidge. And it has been under attack in New York for as long as I can remember because they use coal and natural gas. And so they're the New York blue poster child. They want to just destroy them. And this seems like an attack on them more than anything else. Is like they want to get that out of their state. I don't think it really has that big of an impact on anybody else, but these poor guys have been under attack by the state of New York for as long as I can remember.
My home state. It's a shame to see them not embrace or attack Bitcoin in so many different ways, from the bit license to proof of work.
Yeah, all right, but consider who the largest lobbyists are in New York, right? I mean,
yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a lot of interests that have been there for a long time. Okay, moving on. Treasury exempts corporate Bitcoin from AMT. How will the U.S. Treasury guidance excluding unrealized cryptocurrency gains from the 15% corporate alternative minimum tax affect companies holding Bitcoin?
This is big. This is a really big deal. But it's a lot. It's really just a lot of relief. This never shouldn't have happened, taxing on realized gains, including that in the corporate minimum tax. So I mean, just it's relief. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this. I think what is something to really track though is the phased implementation of Form 1099-DA.
Okay.
Which is going to be sort of all the exchanges kind of giving you your buy information. A lot of this is going to come out fuzzy in the beginning. And I think people are really worried about having to pay phantom gains. Not being able to prove cost basis on Bitcoin from.
Yeah, because you're going to be, I bought on River and I moved it to self-custody. River is going to say, here's your cost basis on what you bought. And then you moved it. So we don't know what happened over there.
Right.
We don't know where you took it.
Right.
And then
that's if you get good information from River. River is probably going to be great at this, but like there are going to be other entities that just, you know,
like
Binance,
Uniswap ain't going to send you anything,
right? You know, I mean, all these.
I'm just talking about like, you know, legitimate exchanges. But
sure.
Then let's say you send it to self custody and then you move it to Coinbase and you sell it at Coinbase.
Yep, Coinbase is going to show you a zero cost basis.
They're going to send you a 1099 DA that says you sold this much, and now you've got to cross-reference all that stuff on your own.
Yep. And so record keeping is going to be paramount here, and people are fearing there's going to be an increase in audits and things like that. And
well, this is the shitstorm that comes before. Oh, okay. Well, you know, you guys now need to communicate with each other, and River, you need to find out where they're sending that coin, and then you know, you need to verify that
tracking and tracing. Yeah. So thankfully they got rid of the, you know, the AMT exemption on, you know, they brought in the AMT exemption on the corporate Bitcoin. But yeah, watch out for the 1099 DA. We'll keep you up to date on that. Let's move on. So the next one, the hiring spree. Crypto exchanges embark on hiring spree. Why are major crypto exchanges massively expanding hiring in October of 2025? Why now?
Because Josh told them it's going to 444. But I think it's the fact that we're seeing this. I think what they're preparing for this merger of TradFi and DeFi and crypto exchanges like Coinbase, Gemini. They're all kind of coming together into platforms that offer it all. And so I think the regulatory clarity has caused these legitimate regulated exchanges like Coinbase, Kraken, River, Gemini, etc., to say to themselves, wow, we need to start pulling in some of these previously thought of as obscure, risky, offshore, degen trading technology. Maybe we need to bring that into our system. These perpetuals look pretty cool. Maybe we should be doing perpetuals here. Tokenizing real world assets, tokenizing securities. Why aren't we trading tokenized Apple at Coinbase, right? Like on and on and on. So I think they're seeing a very broad potential, and so they need devs to build that all out.
All right, we'll see where it goes. Let's move on to the next one here. I think we got a clip to run.
If you don't like cat photos, you don't like wizards or whatever, that's like your choice, right? But I don't think this is not a legitimate transaction, or, you know, this is a waste of blocks, you know, because NFTs are bad or whatever. I don't think that language has a play. Well, I don't think that should be considered when you are talking about writing policy code.
Yeah, as a developer.
As a developer, as a protocol maintainer, like.
All right, dude. What do you think of that?
I want to see more. I want to talk to her a lot more.
So,
because like that's, I mean, easy to say. I wonder how much Bitcoin she actually owns.
So that you can say
value,
that's skin in the
how
game.
much value do you have locked in Bitcoin?
Well, is she making a fair point that a dev shouldn't think about what people like or dislike in regards to what is a legitimate transaction?
You should think about what is the network used for and what's the best tools to make the network continue to function in that fashion. It's used to represent money. It's used to be unsensible, unconfiscatable blockchain that supports value.
Because that seemed to be to me. Am I going out on a limb here too far and saying like that? Because that seemed to be like a political statement of sorts.
Yeah, well,
versus, but shrouded in the guise of libertarianism.
Right.
So, am I wrong, and we should be libertarian about this, or am I no, you're missing the point. It's a protocol for a certain thing, and you're hiding behind libertarianism, and that's sort of like clear. A political commentary on diversification. That's what I felt like.
Absolutely clear if you take the libertarian view of money.
Sure.
Okay. Right. If you say, okay, then Bitcoin is libertarian money, it's not libertarian data transfer. It's not a social media network. It's not a place to send JPEGs around. Your JPEG doesn't have to be unconfiscatable. The minute you show it to somebody, it can be confiscated. Like it's like you don't need Bitcoin level security for your JPEG. It's literally an attack on value, on the purpose of Bitcoin, and to just downplay it as like it should be open and it, your opinion.
I'm still trying to understand. I'm trying to see the other side and straw man the policies versus rules or consensus, sort of the filter the mempool policy versus the consensus rules.
Yeah.
And the predictability of items going to be in the mempool.
There's dozens and dozens of blockchains that have just been carbon copies of Bitcoin that have been used for other things. Most of them have failed.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Right. So we have discovered through trial and error that money is the ultimate use case for blockchain, SHA-256, cryptography, hashing, etc. It's not the ultimate use case to store a JPEG. It's not the ultimate use case to support your video or your
but how we get there is important. To be continued. I want to keep exploring it. I want to make sure we're not missing anything here. But I agree with what you're saying.
She should come on the show.
All right. Well, open invitation.
Yeah.
So, all right. Let's move on to the next one here. White House floats using gold to buy Bitcoin. A senior U.S. official says the government could tap unrealized gold gains to fund Bitcoin purchases, potentially acquiring 1 million Bitcoin under the proposed Bitcoin Act. Is this happening for real? Is this for real?
Is it?
I don't think it's for real.
I don't know if it's for real. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, that means it's definitely not for real.
I could see this happening. I could see this happening down the road. Like I said earlier, I don't think this happens until the market price of gold is much higher. I could see this happening as a way to try and trigger the rest of the world onto this Bitcoin standard, because we're developing, right, a unipolar world that traditionally has settled, if you go back 80 years, right, we used to settle on gold. Gold was a neutral reserve asset of central banks. If your country, I'm talking about the US, is subject to a central bank that you don't control, that you don't have influence over, that is working for the global program, not working for Make America the best it can be, then this idea of flipping from gold to Bitcoin, it would send shockwaves across the entire global financial system. And in doing so, if you were better prepared than anybody else on the planet, your country would excel. So I could see this kind of strategy as a way to preserve U.S. dominance.
We'll see. Let's see
if they can make it happen.
The Trump shock, like the Nixon shock. Let's move on to the next one. This is kind of in line.
The $1 million Bitcoin question. One of the latest Bitcoin Matrix. Is that you? The idea of Bitcoin could hit 1 million this year is floated. If it did, what would that actually mean for the economy? Could it happen through multiple paths, or would it only be possible in the event of a total dollar collapse? We're going to roll.
If Bitcoin went to 1 million this year, which I think is still possible, not maybe likely or probable, how bad would that be for, let's say the economy? And what does that mean for the price of different things? But maybe, the price of bread doesn't skyrocket in that example. And maybe that's a way to export all the inflation into Bitcoin. and I do also think at some point, like we kind of have to rip the Band-Aid off. Like even if we don't want it to go quick, we don't want it to be ugly. I don't think we have a choice. I think idealistically, the longer this takes, the slower the grind up, the better for everybody. But I don't think we're assured that by any means. And I think at some point we have to deal with this, the pain in the system or how broken it is.
That was just all about you? You're not going to let your guest talk?
I was the guest on that one.
Okay, sorry.
It was my turn to actually fucking talk.
Well, there you go. We got your opinion.
I've dwelled on that since Bitcoin Tina talked about America exporting all the inflation to Bitcoin. And maybe all these other things don't rip in the same way, perishable, food and consumer goods. And maybe that's a good thing too. And maybe that's not export. And then you're not exporting all the inflation to the rest of the world either.
Yeah.
I
think it's an accurate assessment of what's happening with Bitcoin, but I don't think it just goes to 1 million.
Right.
I think it's because it's a free market. And if we went to 220, let alone 440,000 in the next few months, there would be a lot of sellers that would come out of the woods. So I think Bitcoin is going to continue to ebb and flow on its way to $1 million a coin. And there'll be a lot of volatility, and that will help with the transition.
If it did do an 8x, that's all it is.
Yeah,
and
that's all it is.
Ran up to 1 million and hung out there for like 3 days and then came like crashing down to 112.
Yeah.
Or even, to do more damage, hung out there for like somewhere between 750 and 1,050,000 for like 3-4 weeks. Enough time for people to lever up, borrow against, and that crashed down, the misery and the toll and sort of that would be normal for Bitcoin adoption and cycles.
Yeah.
For people with the people with it, everybody, no matter what your size your stack is, you'd be worth so much more than you are now, 10 times now or 8 times now, and then to not be worth that. And then you had the few people that got to sell in that short period, other people who thought it was going to, it would just be typical, I think, in a lot of ways for a Bitcoin cycle.
Yeah. I think it would. I
think
you would get a lot of selling and a lot of pain before we ever got to 1 million.
Yeah, I don't know.
But, I mean, we'll see.
Let's
worry about that if we get it.
Right. I did want to read this though. So someone wrote to Josh Mandel, every time I tried to trade, I have lost money. I'm only built for holding. But if there was a way to copy your exact trades automatically, I would definitely do that and even pay you a fee of the profit. And he wrote, at the beginning of my career, I came across studies suggesting that even a monkey throwing darts could outperform the average trader or portfolio manager, which made me realize that there's something in the market that often leads us astray. So when I started trading, I'd make a decision based on all the reasoning I could gather and then do it the opposite. He's a fucking legendary trader.
That's awesome.
All right. Pakistan. Will Pakistan's Bitcoin reserve plan backfire?
This is a weird article because it's like saying, it's talking about the difference between what the government wants to do or could do versus what's good for the people. And that very rarely happens, right? So like the government has, in Pakistan, I guess, has an enormous amount of unused energy that they're like losing money on, just unloading. So it makes absolute sense for them to mine the Bitcoin. And then the article goes into, but they've had so much corruption and fraud in the crypto space, and they've had this people that get taken advantage of and blah blah blah. It's like, that's not what we're talking about here. That's not what Pakistan's talking about. Pakistan's talking about, I got energy that's going to waste. Does somebody want to come help us mine this stuff? Mine this Bitcoin and put it on our balance sheet?
How long before like a country like Pakistan has, let's say enormous power that's unused, they start turning on Bitcoin? It's, a decade from now, Bitcoin's emissions are a lot lower. and the United States government sends over some jets and blows up a dam, or I mean, no, you're not getting any more Bitcoin.
Right.
You know, I mean, how long? Like, is that the real hash wars? Where, you know, and that's why I think
now
AI and Bitcoin miners are going to go along because they're going to be protected.
Pakistan has sort of like apparently been our ally for a number of years.
I'm saying a non-ally, ally. You know,
Sure.
and I mean.
Yeah, but so if you're gonna drone strike or
because there's one thought I think
tactically
it's like,
strike your,
why would you blow up their stuff if you could use that power to mine for yourself?
Right. Well, you're gonna.
But at some point you say, look, we got enough. We got nuclear power. We're mining. We got Marathon. We own Riot. We own Strategy as our broker dealer, public-private partnership. Let's go blow up their nuclear power so they can't get Bitcoin. I mean,
right. I mean, it's probably going to happen. You're going to go blow up Russia's. You're going to get yours blown up, right?
Right.
So it's going to. I mean, that's just the way these countries are going to deal with each other. So I think Pakistan's probably going to. Maybe they'll do it and then they'll sell the Bitcoin to us.
Maybe that's what Top Gun 3 is about. We'll
yeah, man.
All right, let's go on to the next one.
Brazil opens doors to Bitcoin miners. With energy firms courting miners to soak up 70% excess output, is Brazil quietly positioning itself as the next global Bitcoin mining hub, or just flirting with a short-term fix?
This is the same thing. They got the excess energy. Yeah. Let's see where they go with it. They're
gonna mine.
Yeah. Well, let's see if they actually mine. Let's see if they actually attract miners. But they have the excess energy. It's clear path to getting some sats.
Someone will come.
Every week we talk about this. It's countries looking at crypto, stable coins, mining. It makes sense. Let's move on to the next one. The IPO pipeline. So Wall Street's $200 billion crypto IPO pipeline. With over $200 billion in crypto firms preparing to go public, is Wall Street about to replace all coin speculation with a more respectable form of cryptomania, or just repackage the same cycle in IPO form?
It kind of depends on how you just use the word respectable. I had this conversation with Alex Thorne. And his idea was that, like, if it's legal and passes SEC compliance, then let people have it, and it'll find its value or it'll disappear. At least there is some sort of regulator here that's at least looking superficially at the legality of these structures and the disclosures around these structures. That doesn't mean that just because they put their stamp of approval on it, that it isn't going to fail, right? Lots of companies go public and fail, and the vast majority do. So I would say that it's kind of like Cryptomania with a little bit of an upgrade in that you can at least eliminate some complete frauds. Like, I don't ever see like Hex being able to go public, or like EOS back in the day going public, right? But you're going to get companies with ideas that go public and they fail. But hopefully this is going to weed out fraudsters. So I think I'm positive from that perspective.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. This one, you asked.
Open Door opens its door to Bitcoin. The Open Door moves to accept Bitcoin payments. Could this mark the start of a real shift from digital to physical assets?
I don't think so. I don't think this is a big deal at all. I think this is just marketing hype. This is trying to appeal to the crypto or Bitcoin rich, which I don't think is the wider population. They might get some sales out of this, but I don't think that this is like a sign of the times, or and I think every company should turn on the button.
Now, Open Door, don't they buy your?
Yeah, and then if they renovate it, and then they try to resell it.
They're not really like matching buyers and sellers. They're buying the house from you, then they're reselling it.
I believe that's what they're doing. Yeah.
Is this like they will give you Bitcoin?
No, they'll accept Bitcoin. I think Ethereum and
so once they bought,
I think the Tether is actually the more important one here long term for them. part of, sort of with the Genius Act and the Clarity Act, I think, if your tether is at Coinbase, and you're not it's not a taxable event. And so I think that'll just do incremental benefit.
I mean, if they really want to make an imprint, offer me Bitcoin for my house.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's what this is about. They're going to accept Bitcoin and crypto for home buying. So
that would be
that's really interesting, and that's a whole different thing, and that's the opposite way of the street.
Think outside the box.
All right. Well, this is brought to you. This is Bitcoin Center, episode 23, brought to you by Byte Federal. Go bank yourself.
So you've heard Bitcoin is the new gold rush by now. As world leaders on all sides have endorsed it as the future of money, and now you're looking to get started, we'll show you how. It's actually easier than you think. First, go to your nearest Byte Federal ATM and turn your cash to coin. Byte Federal has over 1,200 locations around the country with the highest daily limits. Go to our website, bytefederal.com, to find the nearest ATM to you. Log in to any wallet, then create an account, deposit your US cash, and instantly convert it to Bitcoin. That's it. We are the only US manufacturer and operator in the Bitcoin ATM industry, and our US-based live customer service is second to none. Go on, give it a whirl, and don't get left behind. Click the link below.